Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. Hope everybody's been doing good. We are now coming to a close of October, which is, again, scary to believe. I know we say this every year, but it's true every year. Time goes by way too quickly than we want it to. And yeah, like October's been a bit of a dry month. I think it's definitely going to start sort of picking up. Not really. I mean, we got a couple movies coming out, We got Five Nights at Freddy's coming out, this upcoming week. We have, The Marvels coming out in a couple weeks, so there's going to be some movies sprinkled in, but, the strike's still going. Mm-hmm. But either way, we're not here.
Yeah, and a lot of the Oscar movies are going to be coming out, too, like, in particular, the one that we're going to be talking about. But yeah, this is around that time where those, those Academy movies start coming out, basically.
Pretty much, and exactly like Burns said, we are talking about one of them, which is Martin Scorcese's latest film, Killers of the Flower Moon, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Molly Gladstone, Lily Gladstone. The character's name was Molly, I apologize. Robert De Niro, and a slew of other really cool actors and stuff like that, in my opinion. So there's going to be a non-spoiler review. I mean, technically it's historical, so it's like, spoiler, not really. But for the movie's sake, if you don't know the story or anything, we'll keep it non-spoiler. But please do not forget to give us a like, ring the bell, and of course subscribe. We do appreciate you, and look forward to going to the holiday season with all the cheer and stuff like that. So, so this is essentially it's based off a book, but essentially it's just the retelling of. How do I put this in the most polite way? A family's of basically the infiltration of the Osage community for their wealth, and that's pretty much as delicately as I can put it. Where Robert De Niro is definitely the main villain in this movie. He is a total asshole, and Leo DiCaprio is his nephew who ends up marrying this woman named Molly, and she's a member of the Osage community. And yeah, basically just like a Martin Scorsese film usually goes, a bunch of crime and stuff happens to this, and it's really well done, but it's just I don't know if I would say it kind of is depressing. Who am I kidding? But it was Martin Scorsese did a really good job with this one. Definitely better than The Irishman. That's the last movie I could think of that he really did. For those of you who don't remember, that was the movie he did that came out on Netflix with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino. And it came out on Netflix during COVID, and it was just meh. Mm-hmm. Like, I finally actually sat through the whole thing and watched it a few months ago, and it's not bad, but it's not his best at all. So I think this one's definitely a return to form for him, and I know he was very passionate about wanting to do this movie. And some people are saying this is Leo DiCaprio's best role. Maybe. I think my favorite one's still The Departed. He should have won that award for that movie a long time ago.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, that's just my favorite. That's my favorite character. I mean, I do love.
It's a good one.
My favorite all-time one is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just because it's.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was surprised you didn't pick that one.
but his best acted one was The Departed. I think he sold that one way more. So he's just a gem of an actor, and. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. I know it's 3 hours long, but it's super worth it. The cast is great. I think Lily Gladstone, I'm glad she's now in like a pretty big movie. I haven't really seen her in much else. I know she's in an episode of Reservation Dogs on FX, and she's been in a handful of other things, but I think this is definitely a movie that's going to put her up there on the mark, and she definitely deserves it. Great performance all around. It also has like people like Brendan Fraser, Jesse Plemons,
John Lithgow.
Yeah, he was a very surprised one. I was like, "What? You're in a Scorsese movie now? Like that's just crazy. It's just good." And yeah, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Would I go see it again? Probably not, because it's that long, but it's really good. Bern, what did you think of this movie?
Yeah, man. I mean, this movie is as you described. I mean, it is a long one, and it is a pretty. It's an emotionally taxing one. It's like there's a lot of misery in this movie, and like that is, it's an important story that needs to be told in film format. Obviously, it was a book, and if you look in the history books about the Reign of Terror, which is the title used to describe this era and this period in Oklahoma, and all these horrible things that happened to the Osage people. It's not like a light story, and it's not fun. And what I like is that Martin Scorsese doesn't make it that way. From the trailers, I would say they're a little bit misleading. At least the very the official trailer, where it seems like it's gonna be like a snappy like crime thriller movie, and it's not that at all. It is a long drawn out depiction of these absolutely awful acts that these people are doing to the Osage community. And as you mentioned, it is acted so well. I mean, and scripted well too. Like it seems like this is one of those movies where it's just like everybody's at the top of their game and they're doing their absolute best to tell this story as respectfully as they can. And I think that came across like from the beginning to the end. Everyone just did such a fantastic job, and it seems like everyone like knew the assignment here, and that's all you could ask for in filmmaking, and in filmmaking that's handling very sensitive topics, and in topics that we don't like to confront head on almost, a lot of the time, and that's why this is like so important in that aspect. But in terms of the filmmaking aspects, I think Martin Scorsese is once again proving why he's one of the best to ever do it. Like you mentioned, he seemed to be off his game a little bit in The Irishman. Not that was a bad movie. I enjoyed it, but yeah, it's like you mentioned, it was just kind of like, yeah, that was good. That was a good movie. This one is like, oh, okay, yeah, you can see there was definitely a ton of passion that he had for this, and you can tell like he just really wanted to get this one right. And the actors obviously were great. Leo DiCaprio is always going to give a fantastic performance. I think what people are saying here is that this role is like very different for like what he's usually used to doing. I mean, he's usually the charismatic leading man, and it seems as of late he's been taking on a little bit more interesting roles, like the one in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Don't Look Up. That's the other one that came out recently. Very different from his usual roles, and this one is, I would say, probably the most different. Playing a very dumb and despicable character where you want to root for him, but also he's just doing these absolutely horrible things where you're just like, I mean, your idiocy can only pardon you from so much of the things that you're doing, and he did a really good job in that role. And I mean, Robert De Niro, man, this is one of his best performances in a very, very long time. He really, really brought it into this role, and playing one of the worst villains, I think, in movies that we've seen in a little while. And just the things that he's done is horrible, and I mean, it's based on actual acts, so the fact that these things did happen is just really it's a hard pill to swallow, but his performance was great. And Lily Gladstone, I mean, she's the heart and soul of this movie. I mean, I had been hearing that from like other people's comments, and it's definitely the case. Like, she really does carry this movie, and it's just well done across the board.
Absolutely, I definitely agree with all that. I didn't know if it was going to be too spoilery, but I do agree with you with Leo DiCaprio. Where, God, I will say I 1,000% agree with the trailers, because I thought it was going to be like Martin Scorsese's like almost like a mob film, because my history sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I need to brush up on it, but yeah, no, it was definitely just pretty accurate. I mean, I want to say it's pretty accurate to what happened at that point to the Osage community, where in this country, if you're a person of color and doing really well in society like the Osage was, white people just got to ruin it for you, and it's just it's despicable. And Leo DiCaprio, I did love his performance, but he's that character you just want to hate. Do I hate him as much as I did in Django? Getting there, just because he's so stupid. But again, great job. Lily Gladstone, definitely the heart and soul with this movie. I couldn't think of anyone else to do her part. I'm glad that she got this. She killed it. Robert De Niro, great to see him as a villain. He does a really good job in that in some of his movies. Definitely, I think the least great character in all of Martin Scorsese stuff, because even movies like Casino, Goodfellas, and all this other stuff, like he's more of the older movies, it was more of a great character. Like, you understand why he does what he does. This one was just complete asshole and villain. I'm glad, I knew I'm not gonna go say anymore, but also I will say I was looking at the cast list. One of the musicians I really come to like in recent years was one of the characters we were talking about, Sturgill Simpson. He was the moonshine guy, which I was like, I was like,
okay.
that's where I knew him from. I wasn't an actor; he's a musician, kind of like country, but now he's leaning more into like alternative kind of stuff, like rock a little bit. So it was just a joy, but. Having
There's another musician cameo in the movie, but I won't say it until
no,
after we're
I
done
know. I
recording.
think I know what you're talking about. That one we definitely can't spill. So,
Yeah.
but I will say this: having said all that, and also I think this movie should definitely win an award for costume design because the way they had the Osage natives just dressed was amazing. It's like, why isn't that more of that shit involved in regular fashion? You know, every day. Because some of the stuff they had was pretty cool. But it also is like they were more of a different community because we're in LA. It was based in Oklahoma, but not either way. Just great,
Sure.
great stuff all around. I will give this movie a 5 out of 5. Like I know it's long, and yes, it is definitely emotionally just weighs down on you watching this because it's like every 5 minutes I was thinking to myself like, my God, what is the matter with people? Like can't we just have good things in life and be supportive? But nope, definitely can't. So. Definitely Martin Scorsese's best movie in a long time, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can say for it. I really enjoyed it. Definitely hard recommend for movies right now, especially.
Yeah, I mean, look, Martin Scorsese has made a career, of depicting the atrocities of evil, greedy white men, basically, and this movie, like you mentioned, doesn't really have like that sort of sea of gray that a lot of his other movies have, where you can kind of understand, the characters and their motivations. Here, it's just like blatant and in your face that a lot of the things that are happening in this movie are just outright bad, and it's just it does make it a really tough watch. I will warn people going in, 3.5 hours basically of a lot of unkind things happening, to say the least. But I think it is one that's it's a story that's very important to know, or and to have seen, I think. So definitely, watch it because of that, but also because I said on the technical level, this is just an amazingly well done movie. His direction is great. Rodrigo Prieto's cinematography is great. He just we just saw a few his movie earlier this year, Barbie, which was also fantastic in cinematography wise. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a double nomination for this movie and for that one. Robbie Robertson's score was really good for this movie too. Again, just all around, just everyone working at the top of their game. And yeah, that 3.5 hour runtime is a bit daunting, but it's one that I think people should definitely go check out. And I know it's going to be coming to Apple TV, since this was like meant for the streaming services, but it's definitely getting the theatrical run. I would say definitely go watch it in the theaters, but if not, absolutely watch it as soon as it comes to streaming, because like I said, this feels like an important movie to watch. So with all that being said, I'm gonna give this one a 4 out of 5, but that's just because I like you said, I wouldn't put it at the top of Martin Scorsese's filmography. Like I would say, Goodfellas is 5 out of 5, and even something like Casino or the Wolf of Wall Street, probably. It's like there are movies of his that I enjoy more, but I think out of all of his filmography, this is probably the most important movie he's made. And I mean that's tough because he's had a very long career, and he's had a lot of success, and just he could add this one this feather to his cap for sure. And yeah, there's this come awards season, I assume it's going to be this one and Oppenheimer duking it out for a lot of the big ones, and deservedly so, because these are both fantastic movies.
Yeah, and I wish Dune Part 2 was going to be a part of it, but at this point, no, it will not. And yeah, while I disagree with a lot of Martin Scorsese's like opinions when it comes to certain genres of film as of late, he still got it. He can back his. He can say
he was right. He was right about Marvel.
I mean, it's him and like him, Quentin Tarantino, and a couple other directors. I'm like, hey, you can kind of say what you want. I definitely have the right to not agree with you, but you can back it up. Your filmography says it all. So, yeah, like I said, definitely check it out in theaters. It's out everywhere. IMAX wise, would you say it's recommended? Or I mean, I know we saw it in IMAX, but I don't know if that was a big deal or not.
And honestly, it's not one that you have to go just because it doesn't change into the IMAX format. But seeing the visuals of the movie on the big screen was a treat. So it's kind of like one of those that falls into line like The Creator that we reviewed a little not too long ago, where that one wasn't in the IMAX format either, but the visuals are really nice, so it's cool to see it on the big screen. For this one, I'd say just watch it in any way you can, your preferred format. Whether that be Dolby, IMAX, or just a regular screen. Either one will you'll have a good viewing experience, I think.
Perfect. Well said, Bernie. But yeah, until next time, guys. Like I said, we got Five Nights at Freddy's coming out this week, so hopefully, Bern will get to the theater for that one. I know with horror and stuff, it's hit and miss with him. Sometimes he enjoys it, other times, just he has nightmares. Not to throw you under the bus, Bernie. I know you do, but no,
I do have nightmares of bad ones, bad movies. They keep me up at night.
stupid. But until next time, everyone, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for the both of us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.